Alright, so we got the notes up. Where are the clips at? Where are the clips at? Where are the clips at? Are you muted? You might be muted because we're this.
Yeah. 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 Asia bring the power, Jackie bring the fight. Chelsea got the sauce, Becky got the sight. Mark built a whole dynasty in these Vegas lights. Not a whole league trying to keep up every single night. Championships, records, the standard bearer. We welcome you all to the Aces era. Aces era. Aces era. Aces era. Aces era.
Hey yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome to the Aces Era podcast. I'm Kevin and that's CJ, and we're here to talk Aces basketball. The good, the bad, the petty, the messy, and the elite. If it has anything to do with the Las Vegas Aces, we're talking about it. CJ, the season finally started, man. We got some games.
Season did not start yesterday. Season started today. I mean, they got rings yesterday, but the season really started today.
They got rings and they played a game yesterday. And
Did they go?
They were there for it. They're physically there.
They were there. Did they play?
They started. Like, the game was going. Me and you were in the building. The game was at T-Mobile Arena as opposed to the house.
It's at the big house.
Yeah, things did happen. You know?
Yeah, it's funny because the game picked up very much where that Dallas game left off.
Yeah. It was interesting over the last preseason game and this first game of the season. The Aces did not look ready to go, which was an interesting take when they didn't bring in too many other people into training camp. They didn't have too many things to look at other than get practice. I mean, I remember seeing an interview with Asia, I believe it was Asia, and she said that, I don't know, it was Jewell. Jewell said it wasn't training camp, these were practices. And so they were already running practice, yet it was a rough start for the Aces.
Yeah, and it's sad because I don't think it's really an injury thing, because the only probable rotation piece out right now is Dana Evans. I don't know how much Janiyah is going to play, and she's still in concussion protocol. We saw pretty much the same rotation that we saw in the Dallas game, where KB came off the bench early. I think we saw Cheyenne earlier than we expected, because end of last pod, when we were talking about the rotation, I said I thought we were just going to try to go small. For the season, and then we were getting bullied on the boards early in the game, and then Cheyenne came in, because I'm pretty sure the way the game started, we had Jewell come in first, which is what we expected, and then we had Kennedy and Cheyenne, or we had Kennedy, KB, and then Cheyenne, and that was our rotation.
Becky went 9 deep in the first quarter, which was an interesting feat. Ultimately, so we're burying the lead. Yesterday was ring night. Aces have played 2 games so far that we're going to be talking about and breaking down a little bit. They lost to the Mercury 99-66 on the ring night performance. It was a remarkable ring night performance, but like a lot of ring nights, a lot of teams don't look great. There's a lot of emotion Asia talked about in the situation. Yep. Asia said that she hates ring nights because they got the ring in October, and so as you know, she understands to celebrate with the fans and everything. That's great, but there's a lot of emotion and a lot of things involved with the ring night. We saw Crystal Bradford was back in the building to get a ring. People that were no longer with the Aces in the front office, they were all in the building. They had these nice jackets on, and the jackets seemed to never come off because the Aces got beat by 33.
It was the most lopsided loss by a defending champion in an opener in WNBA history, and not particularly close, because the next closest one was by 20.
The thing that's funny is when you say that, there's so many caveats, right?
Yo, I know. I love you and I talk about it all the time off the pod, where it's they just make up stats to say whatever they want them to say. So it's like,
Yeah,
this is the biggest loss ever by this, by that, by that. Because, like, what was it last season when the Aces lost by like 40 something at home? And they were like, this is the biggest loss at home by a WNBA team in history, blah, 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 blah. And then they ran off 16 straight.
exactly. It's always funny. I mean, right now, we're setting a record right now. We're the first African American led Aces podcast that airs episodes on Sundays in May.
Damn.
We're the first. Who knew? Who could you believe it? That's exactly how those stats sound.
Making history.
That's what they are, to get the history. But yes, it was a historic loss. It came across my ESPN feed as well. In the game, Asia was the leading scorer for the Aces with 19 points. Next was Jackie with 12. Nalissa had 11. And then Kennedy off the bench chipped in with another 10.
You know, it's funny because at half, the Aces were down by, I think they were down by 15.
Yeah.
I think, or 11. And we're in the house, so, you know, I don't have the box score. So I pull up my phone and I look, and I'm like, this game is feeling ugly. And, like, the Aces had 10 fouls to Phoenix's 4. And I just felt like there were calls that weren't necessarily being missed. It's just like the game didn't feel particularly physical, but the Aces couldn't even match Phoenix's physicality, which wasn't a lot. They were just getting called on fouls that weren't really fouls.
Yeah.
You know, is what it felt like. It was like, you know, if you would have moved your feet a little bit more, maybe that's not a foul, but I don't even think it was a foul to begin with. So who knows? But I look at my phone and it's like Asia's got 14 points, 3 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Jackie Young, I think, had 10 points and had hit 2 threes, and no one else was doing anything. And that's very much what it felt like yesterday watching the game in person, is Asia was trying to backpack the team.
Yeah, and Asia and Jackie together. Because Jackie was out there. Jackie showed up too. It was interesting because the fouls kept the game disjointed.
Yes.
It was a lot of stopping, a lot of starting, a lot of stopping, a lot of starting. And by doing that, no rhythm was really established.
Yes.
Another thing that I really noticed is that the rebounding didn't seem like it was there in that first game.
And I don't want to say it was effort, but, like, it's not like Phoenix was particularly bigger than them, but they were just beating them to loose balls.
True. I mean, last season, Phoenix had, like, the number 2 defense.
Yeah.
And so, and when you have Alyssa Thomas on the floor and Kalia Copper, you're going to have great defenders out there. And they did, but the Aces couldn't buy a bucket. But then on top of that, I was also noticing, unlike last year, they weren't also going for offensive rebounds. And that's what seemed to really turn the tide, especially getting someone like Nalissa Smith, who seems to really thrive in the offensive rebounding space. They
shut down Nalissa in the paint last night.
Yeah, they weren't crashing the boards like hardly at all. And I thought that was very interesting for the Aces because that's how they ended the season last year with doing that. And I thought they would just pick up from where they left off.
Yeah, because, like, watching the game, it didn't feel... Anytime I'm watching Phoenix, I'm expecting Alyssa Thomas and Clea Copper to take over, and that's not what yesterday was. And I think that's why the game felt so weird. When I'm watching it, I'm like, we're getting blown out, but this doesn't feel like a game we should be getting blown out.
You wouldn't think so, especially because of what Phoenix did in the offseason. It didn't seem like they had done too much. One thing they did do is they went and got the Serbian killer in Jovana Nojic. I was not aware of her game. Did not know who she was. She's a 28-year-old rookie.
Yeah, which explains why we had never heard of her before.
And this is actually one thing that's really funny is that I don't remember if I was talking to someone or if I heard this somewhere, but someone mentioned, how are people still getting cut? if we've added more roster spots. Well, we
Yep.
also added more money, and we brought a lot of people over from overseas. And that's
Yep.
why players are still getting cut. That's why Deja Kelly still doesn't have a job. Because when you add in Jovana Nojic from Serbia, she's been playing Serbia this whole time. And
Yeah.
then, or at least in Europe. And then she comes over, and the way she was killing it in the first half against the Aces, the Aces didn't consider her initially, and they probably should have.
Yeah, it was almost like, and I don't want to say this in a bad way, but it was almost like they didn't have a scouting report on her. Like they just
Yeah,
didn't know what to expect. 'Cause there was one possession where she pulled from like 27 feet, and nobody was checking her from there, and I was like, oh, they didn't know she could do that.
right. It was an interest, and especially being in the building, it was just interesting watching her come down the court, post up, and just fire. And
Yeah.
hitting three after three, getting open. I was like, who's supposed to be guarding this lady? Because someone get a body on her, please. And
Well, it's funny because you saw Asia checking Alyssa Thomas out past the 3-point line, and you saw Jackie shadowing Kalia, and then it's like, okay, well, those are our two defenders locking their two best offensive players. Who's supposed to guard her? And I think it was supposed to be KB, but then because we were getting killed on the boards and she had to go out, we started struggling to cover her.
yeah, yeah. And it's also odd because this is not the first time I've seen this. You were in the building last year for the Fever games at T-Mobile, as was I. And it seems that the Aces can't shoot on them T-Mobile rims. I don't know what it is.
No, they cannot.
In that game, I remember watching them the year before against the Fever. Couldn't seem to buy a basket
Against the Liberty or against
the Sky.
Not the Liberty, the Sky. They couldn't
Sky.
shoot there either.
I don't know what's going on at T-Mobile Arena, but I don't know if they put the basket in the wrong spot or what. But
I don't know if it's the view on the backdrop. I don't know if there's a draft from the hockey. Like,
the
I
ice
don't know what
that's
it is.
underneath, maybe. You know what
I
it
don't know.
is? I think it's because at T-Mobile Arena, they're like force swapped from where they come out at the Michelob Ultra at the house, and so that just throws them off because they're coming out the opposite tunnel. So they're coming out like the village. You know, you'd ever seen like in wrestling when there's the two tunnels, the heels and the faces tunnel.
Yes.
They're coming out the wrong tunnel. That's all it is.
So everything's reversed.
Because they couldn't buy a basket at the end of the third. CJ, they were shooting 35% from the field.
That's funny because they were down 38.
Yeah, and that was another thing is that I was really surprised at the half when they only had one offensive rebound, and it was one that like ricocheted off. And I remember watching someone like volleyball spike it out, and it happened to go to Chelsea. And I was like, oh, that was the only offensive rebound we've had this entire game at this point.
It's funny because like I look at the score and they were getting killed, but it didn't like they were down 38, but it didn't feel like they should have been down 38. It felt like they should have been down 20, if that made sense.
20 versus 38, tomato,
I mean,
but
you're still getting blown out, yes, but like
not blown out so poorly.
Yeah, like they didn't play great, but I didn't feel like I didn't feel like they were getting taken to the woodshed like that until I look up at the scoreboard and I'm like, oh, it's time to get up out of here.
Yeah,
we ain't coming back from this.
It was interesting. I mean, Becky felt the same way. She called it in the third. She put in the bench. She emptied the bench in the third quarter. She said, we have a game tomorrow, so I guess we need to go ahead and start preparing for that. One thing that was really interesting was them looking lost on defense. The Aces didn't seem to know where to be. I think you might be right about not having the scout on the Serbian player. because by not having the scout on her, it kind of changed where everybody was supposed to be. And the rotations just seemed off, both offensively and defensively.
Well, it's funny because when we're watching them, and I'm going to compare it to today's game, um, you see it on the rotations where they know Asia is going to drop and have their back at the rim, and they don't necessarily know if Brianna Turner is going to be there. They don't necessarily know if Cheyenne's going to be there, and they're still building that trust. Because you got to remember, Kia and Meg had been there for a while, so they know where their bigs are going to be and they know where to rotate out. And then, like, now with Kennedy coming in and she's new to the system, because she's the point, if Jackie's not out, she's typically the point of attack defender.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, you're trying to figure out, what are my rotations? How am I stopping people? Like, when somebody's coming to the rim, how are we guarding this? That just takes time. It takes reps. And they played 2 preseason games. And because there was no offseason, we've practiced now for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It just takes time.
Yeah. You talked about trust. That was one thing that Becky mentioned, is that trust has to be re-earned every year. And yeah, they have a lot of cohesiveness, but trust needs to be there. And Asia touched on that when asked about it in the post game, and she said that they have the fortune of knowing each other pretty well, so it'll be there. It'll be able to grow faster. But Becky's correct. That trust has to be regained every single season. And this season's no different. Mm-hmm. One bright spot I did see, though, is that it was a bit of a block party. The Aces did have 8 blocks in that game. And I think that's going to be something that they are going to really be able to hang their hat on as the season goes. With Jackie getting up and getting a block. We had Asia up there getting blocks like normal. Mm-hmm. Melissa getting blocks, Chelsea Gray. It was a block party. Bonafide block party.
Yeah, Brianna had one. I mean, granted, it was in garbage time, but she still had one. You know? Like, the defense, I guess the biggest problem was they just didn't shoot well.
Yeah, and that was a big, but they didn't shoot well, and then they also didn't rebound. And I didn't mean Jackie, I meant Jewell had the block, but they didn't shoot well, but then they also didn't get second chance points either.
And they also didn't shoot free throws, because, like, when you look at it, Phoenix, like, kept going to the line. Yeah. Aces only shot 8 free throws yesterday, and they only made 4 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And by halftime, like you said, it was 10-4. So the disparity was there. You could see it. Mm-hmm. The end of the game was only 15 total fouls. So they cleaned it up a little bit in the second half. But I think the whistles got a little tighter in the second half. Because at that point it was a blowout. So it's like, let's get this game over with and let's keep it pushing.
Yeah, because I don't think there might have been 2 fouls in the fourth quarter. Because like I said, we got up out of there after the third. I'm not going to lie. I came home and watched the fourth. And, like, it was garbage time. It was a track meet. They were just running up and down.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, because the Aces had that situation yesterday. And Asia and Becky talked about basically packing it away and getting back to work, because who would have thunk they had to start the season off with a back-to-back?
Right?
Now, I guess that's when you're the freshest, but they played Phoenix, which they seem to do every season pretty early, and then they went right to LA to play the Sparks, which they also seem to do every season. They get those couple close games out the way pretty early. And today was night and day different from yesterday.
Yeah. Today they came out hot.
They won the game 105-78. They came out in the first quarter and put nearly 30 on them as they were up and down the court. It was a pretty impressive feat. We had 5 players score in double figures for the Aces.
Well, also one of the most noticeable things, she shortened the rotation because neither KB nor Cheyenne played in the first half today.
Right, right.
You had
And
instead it was Brianna Turner,
well,
and then
yesterday when one of the reporters asked Becky about her going 9 deep, they said, "Were you just looking for someone to have a spark, or is that the plan?" She said, "I was looking for anything." And I think today, from the onset, you were able to see what they were looking for.
yeah, and
Um,
it kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier: is who's going to be in that Kia Stokes role? It might be Brianna Turner.
I think it is, but I think more of a Meg Gustafson role type deal, because Meg came in as one of the first bigs to get those big minutes, and I feel like that's kind of what it was, at least today. I don't know.
Yeah,
Becky doesn't have anything that's like set, but that today that's what she had going on. As I was talking about those stark contrasts, yesterday the Aces had a total of 6 offensive rebounds against 35 total rebounds. Today they had 32 total rebounds, but 15 of them were offensive.
so a lot more.
A lot more. Swarming the basket a little bit more. Their shooting percentage was much better. They're shooting 62% from the field today, as opposed to yesterday where they only finished with 41% from the field.
Yes.
Night and day difference from yesterday to today. And from the 3-point line, they made 7 of 20 as opposed to 4 of 19. So those things add up.
And also, like, they came out hot. They blew the lead in the second. I'm not gonna lie, I started worrying when the Sparks cut it down to 1, and then they said, "Oh, we were just playing," and then they blew them out in the second half.
When Jackie did the interview with USA Today, first off, USA Today, brand new partner, Games on USA Today. Shout out to Elle Duncan, who is the studio host. When they did the games, when they did the interview at halftime, Jackie said, we stopped. We weren't playing the defense we need to get back doing that. And sure enough, in the second half, that's exactly what they did. They were able to she said, we need stops, and they were able to finally get them, giving up 27 points to the Sparks in the second quarter alone, and giving up less than 40 for the rest of the game.
Yeah, they gave up 37 in the second half after giving up 27 in the second. And KP, Kelsey Plum, who miss her, love her, she was the only one doing anything for the Sparks in the second half.
Yeah, it was way different because in the first half, NECA and De'Erica were giving them fits.
Mm-hmm.
Lynn Roberts doesn't seem to trust Cam Brink that much, so Cam wasn't doing much. Ray Burrell was out there, Sweet Baby Ray. She was doing what she could too, but it just wasn't the same kind of situation in the second half for the Sparks, and the Aces were able to really put it on them. After scoring 13 in the second quarter, they scored 33 in the third and another 30 in the fourth.
Going back to the Cam Brink for a minute, I do wonder how much of that is they don't want to go through the growing pains of having a young big out there learning on defense, and how much of it is they just think the others are better.
I mean, well, you have NECA, obviously, former All-Star, MVP, Olympian. You have
But
De'Erica.
she's more of a 3-4. Like Cam is a 4-5. De'Erica's a 4-5.
You think Nick is a 3-4? Nick is a 5. Nick is a 5.
I think of her more as like a 3-4.
Interesting.
Probably more because I think of her ball handling.
But there's a lot, amongst basketball, a lot of bigs can handle the rock.
That's true. Especially in the women's game. You're right.
And NECA is listed at 6'2", but she plays center.
You are right. I mean, like,
So
I think I think of her more as a forward than a forward slash center.
okay, okay. I
Like
mean,
I could see a lineup where they could play all three of them together, I guess is what I'm getting at.
yeah,
And I
that I
don't
can
know
see.
why they don't.
Well, I mean, I think if you go with like if you go with a big lineup for the Sparks, you would go with Kelsey Plum at the one. She's the small,
Hmm.
obviously, but then you can go Ray Burrell at the two. You can go NECA at the three, De'Erica at the four, Cambring at the five, if that's like the distinction.
Yes.
And that's a lot of length out there. But that's not what they were looking to do today, at least. And it kind of like hurt them, if you will. I mean, Asia was able to really get going. She had 19 points, 4 rebounds, 2 blocks for Asia. We had another 2 blocks from Alyssa, another 2 from Brianna Turner in her 16 minutes. Kennedy Carter came out there, had 22 points in 20 minutes. So she had more points than minutes.
Her drive and kick game was strong today.
And that's kind of what I was telling you about her, right? I know you
Yeah.
hadn't really seen too much Kennedy before.
And it's funny because she had 0 assists, but she was getting downhill and finding people.
Yeah,
Like she was scoring, but she would even when she was scoring, she was getting hockey assists.
yeah. It's interesting because, like, with Kelsey Plum having moved on to the Sparks, the Aces last season were missing a person that can get downhill, and that's all Kennedy does is get downhill.
Yeah.
But then that opens up the spacing for everyone else, and you saw it today,
Hmm.
right? Um, they shot more threes today than they did yesterday. Chelsea was 4 for 5 from three. Asia shot a couple, missed them, but she shot a couple today.
Well, Asa also shot. I think she shot 4 threes yesterday, which was encouraging.
It's
Going back
expanding
to
that range. Asia's expanding the range.
she shot 2 of 3 yesterday. So the fact that she's out there shooting threes, which we had talked about in the preseason, we need her to shoot more threes.
Yeah, yeah. And the the Aces were able to create 11 steals today. It's remarkable.
Yeah,
Remarkable.
and I don't know if this is going to be our 8 woman strong rotation or again we were blowing them out, so it was what it was. If Becky's going to keep tinkering, but it worked today.
Yeah. I think as long as the defense is there, this is what you're going to see because that defense was able to turn into offense by getting in fast break points
Yep.
and be able to get really knock the Sparks off balance.
Yeah, the Sparks definitely came out ready, and you could tell they were on their heels in the first quarter before getting it all together. But the Aces just came out and like locked down in the second half,
Yeah.
and the Sparks just looked like they were looking for answers and could not find them.
Agreed. Agreed. It was interesting to see the night and day difference, but it showed that the Aces can do it. They can turn
I
it on
never
whenever they want to.
I never doubted that they could because it's funny that before the season I said I still think they're going to go 30-14. For them to go 30-14, all they got to do is win 2, lose 1, win 2, lose 1. They play Connecticut twice this week. That should be 2 wins.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Connecticut doesn't look quite as ready as some other teams in their first matchup. It's a thing that can happen for the Aces. The Aces look
Yeah.
good. They look like they can get it done, and with it, they could be hoisting and wearing another ring Speaking of the ring, CJ, did you see those rings that they got yesterday?
Of course, I was there. They were beautiful.
It was a ring night for the Aces once again. And Crystal Bradford got a ring. I think everyone that was on the team is going to get a ring. So I expect to see Tiffany Mitchell at some point coming to get a ring. I expect to see Liz Kitley getting a ring at some point or another. When the Aces go to Atlanta, I expect Aaliyah Nye to get a ring. We're going to talk about that in a little bit.
So I don't think she's gonna get it then. I think she's gonna get it when Atlanta comes to Vegas.
Yeah, possibly.
Because I think when Meg comes, she'll get it.
In Portland,
I think when Aaliyah comes, she gets it. Yeah, I think when they come to town, because I think they're gonna get a video package too.
Yeah, I think they will as well. I think it's going to be it's going to be the same video package that they already showed.
Oh no, I think they're going to get a player. I think they're going to get a player specific video
Right.
package.
So when both of them signed elsewhere, they both had video packages.
Oh, that one, the one they put on Instagram.
Yeah, and so I think they'll probably end up getting those done in like a more official manner.
Yeah.
But let's talk about this ring real fast. This is the ring. Let's see if I can get this going. This is the ring right here. Looks awesome. It's three 1-carat diamonds commemorating the Aces 3 championships in 4 years. The ring has world champions on it. I thought one thing that was really cool was that Mark he couldn't figure it out at the time, but it has a thing where it pops off. Because Mark was saying that he has men's rings and there's women's rings, and with the women's rings he has them pop off and then separate to where it is this little piece in the middle, so that way it's just the Aces and the 3 championship trophies together that they can wear like separately, which was cool as heck.
Yeah, when they showed it and then they took it off and then it was just the 3 by myself. My wife looked, she's like, "Oh, they could like actually wear that." I was like,
and that was the idea.
Yeah,
that was the idea. Instead of just sitting somewhere. They said there's 17 black diamonds to commemorate those 17 consecutive wins. I always like when teams, well, the Aces, but teams do that like specialty piece to like something to commemorate that season. Something that nobody's going to remember. But it's something thrown in there. So for them to run those 17 games off in a row, he made sure there was 17 black diamonds to like commemorate each of those wins that like got them into the playoffs when we were looking at the Aces be 500.
Yeah, it was like we're 14 and 14. It's like, well, we should probably be getting ready for this draft lottery. Let's see what happens. Oh, just kidding.
Yeah, correct. He then said that they were all set in 14-karat white gold with more than 500 white and black diamonds to fit the team's color scheme in general. And in total, the ring was nearly 11 carats.
I don't know for a fact, but this has to be one of the most expensive championship rings of any sport. Just looking at it.
It has to be. I mean, I've seen other rings before.
Yeah.
Done by the Lakers, done by you saw the Warriors championship rings.
Mm-hmm.
This one seems to be so much different than those. rings
I
themselves,
think
they were
Mark
made by
went
Justin.
overboard because, well, I'll just say I think Mark went overboard because he knows the Raiders are never getting one.
Well, this is the third. So that joke is kind of played, right? Only because
Yeah.
it's the third time he's doing this.
Yes.
So yes, the Raiders still don't have any, but this is Asia and them's third one.
Yeah. So he's just using the Raider money. He's like, well, might as well just go overboard.
The thing though is that the championship collective from Jostens, I don't know who's other. I know they've done at least two of the Aces rings, if not all three. I don't know who's else that rings they've done, but they look great.
Yes.
One thing I do wonder about the ring themselves, I know that the Aces give rings to most, if not all, their staff. The players get it, the coaches get the championship ring as well. Are all the rings the same? As in, if the person that does the web design, are they getting a 14 karat diamond?
That's
11
a
karat
good
ring?
question because typically in other sports, everyone who works for the organization gets a ring, but there's levels to the rings. So like when the Rams won the Super Bowl or when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, when the Warriors won titles, like if you worked in the front office and you were like the GM, you got the real ring. But if
Yeah.
you were like an accountant, you got like a much smaller version of the ring, but you still got a ring, you know? And like if you were a ticket seller but you worked for the team, maybe you got something. It just depended on how generous the owner was. Because it's up to the owner who gets a ring. And typically it's like if you're salaried, you get a ring.
Mm-hmm.
Is typically how they do it. But if they want to give a janitor a ring, they can give a janitor a ring.
Online, a lot of people are like, what's Crystal Bradford doing there? She was a part of the team. She gets a ring. She was a part of the journey.
Yeah, anyone who's on the roster typically gets a ring.
Yeah,
they
could.
Liz Kitley should get a ring.
Yeah. I remember when Ashley Jones got a ring 2 years ago. And she came in as a hardship player.
Yeah.
And they gave her a ring. The first ring ceremony I went to, I watched Aisha Shepherd get a ring. She came out. That one was crazy, though, right? Because, like, she got a ring. Then she walked around the arena a little bit. I don't know where she went. And then she ended up coming to sit some seats, like 2 seats over from us. With the
Just
ring she had
out.
just gotten. Yeah, just hang out.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I mean, that was where her seats were. Fast forward to like the playoffs, she was in those seats again. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, she might know somebody. But yeah, everyone seems to typically get a ring. No one knows how much this ring costs. I'm thinking it's close to $100K.
If not more. Yeah.
The rings done last year for the Lynx, for the Liberty when they beat the Lynx, that one was priced at $60,000, and it was the highest price in league history at the time.
And that one did not have 3 1-carat diamonds.
Correct, and that one didn't separate and all those things and everything. That one was from Jason of Beverly Hills. This one is from Jostens. It's in the championship collective, by the way, the championship collective. So, I just think, I hope the Aces are getting gearing up for another ring, a fourth one of them things. But we shall see.
That might bankrupt Mark.
Does it though?
Let's see how much he likes.
Quite a bit of money.
I think Tom's paying for the next one.
Speaking of, what was Tom Brady doing out there? Tom Brady out there just hanging out. He got another ring, I guess.
Right? I was actually, when Tom was out there, especially when the game started going sideways, I was like, I know he's not trying to get Asia on TB12. That's what this is.
He better not, man. I mean, it'll prolong her career, but like, I don't, what's his name? Alex, what's his agent's name? Alex something? His trainer?
Alex, it's not Alex, whatever it is.
That dude, I don't need him anywhere near Asia Wilson. I need him nowhere near Asia Wilson. Because that was...
Alex Guerrero.
Yeah, I don't need him
Keep
nowhere
him away.
near him and his TB12 stuff. Get that away from here. CJ, let's talk about who stocks up, stocks down after these first two games.
All right.
For me, I think Stephanie Talbot's stock is way up.
Yeah.
She
Coming up, she came in, brand new starter, new to the team, looks good.
Yeah, and she's playing meaningful minutes. She's today there was a mishap where Chelsea tried to pass her the ball, but it was one of Chelsea's like no look passes. That comes with
Hmm.
time. She was over there in the corner, had to like try to dive for the ball when went out of bounds. Not on her. Chelsea doesn't look when she passes the ball half the time, and it just didn't work out. But other than that, she's out there waiting for the ball and putting up threes.
It's the you got to be always ready. That just comes with time from playing with someone who's like, oh, you weren't looking at me, but you still might hit me. You got to get used to it.
Yeah, agreed. I think another person whose stock is up is Kennedy Carter.
That was mine. Like we talked about it before the season. Is like her and Dana Evans are kind of in that same role, same size, play the same spot, have very similar games. If she plays like she did yesterday and she plays like she did today, especially because we don't know how long Dana's going to be out, she might be able to lock down that spot.
I mean, Dana's a very important piece for the Aces. That doesn't
Yes.
change. She definitely helps with the flow as a true point guard because Kennedy's not passing the ball. But Kennedy
Right.
has proven that she can get to the cup whenever she wants to.
Hmm.
And I mean, 22 points in 20 minutes is proof positive of that.
Right.
Uh, and it leads to like one of my stock down is fouls because Kennedy was in foul trouble yesterday. She looked like she was about to get in foul trouble today. Fouling is a thing that needs to be looked at so far for the Aces. Yesterday, the disparity between them versus the Mercury was noticeable. Today, they got to the line a lot better, but fouling is one thing, both on both sides. Them fouling other teams and also getting fouled. Those are things that I feel like stock is down on.
It's funny because when we were talking about the fouls earlier, and I said it didn't feel like the Aces were particularly fouling. Like the fouls that were being called against them against the Mercury yesterday, it didn't feel like they were any more physical than the Mercury. It didn't feel like they were doing anything different than the Mercury. It just felt like they were getting called and the Mercury weren't because they like there were a couple of moving screens that were like, yeah, that was a moving screen, but a lot of it was just like a reach that when the Mercury did it, they didn't call it a reach,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And that's stuff that either A needs to be cleaned up or B, it just needs to be called both ways. And I don't know how much of it is they need to clean their defense up, which, yeah, you should probably just clean your defense up. Or B, it's just the some games you're going to get away with it and some games you're not.
Right. Another thing I felt stock was down at first going after the first game, but now I feel like the stock's up. It's finishing around the rim. Yesterday, the Aces, of their 66 points, 38 of them were done in the paint.
Yes.
Today, of their 105 points, 62 of them were in the paint.
I mean, especially with Asia and now with Kennedy, they're going to live in the paint.
Which is fantastic. I know that Becky loves 3-point shooting, and that's something that we're going to also be able to see the Aces incorporate. And then if you do that while also finishing around the cup, their offense will be a piece that's going to be able to really carry them, I think.
I mean, they were one of the highest scoring teams in the WNBA the last few years. It's just making sure that the defense is right. And as long as they're not fouling, they're getting up and down the court, and they're getting offensive boards, they're going to be fine. They're going to stay one of the most talented teams in the WNBA they can stay relatively healthy. Let's just clean up the defense. Let's move our feet. Let's get some awards. We'll be fine.
Agreed.
And I also just wonder how much of yesterday was Phoenix was just pissed off that they got swept. Now they got to watch you guys get these rings.
Now I feel like that was a big part of it, right? They've been thinking about this. I think a team should never play the team that they beat in the finals for the first game at their ring ceremony. So that way they see what happened and you're like, oh, bet. I got you. I got you. In the chat, Allison said the video package last season were great. I think stock is down on this season's video. I liked last season much better.
The in arena pregame video.
Yeah.
Agreed. I also said stock down. When it finished, looked at the wife. I said, "Yeah, I don't know if I like this one. I like last year's better."
And the Neverfold, it came together, but I preferred last season. I actually preferred 2 seasons ago with the belly video. That was fantastic.
Yeah, but like I didn't love, biggest the largest, and then till I saw this one, I was like, oh, where is it?
I didn't love it till I didn't have it anymore. And then I said, oh, I miss it. I miss it.
Yeah.
I think I think stock up for Asia Jokes being back in the arena.
Yes.
Stock down on Stephanie Talbot being able to handle Asia Jokes in the arena. There's some in-arena videos that happen. Asia tells a joke. It's usually pretty corny. 2 players put water in their mouth and have to not spit it out.
Yeah,
Stephanie Talbot.
It's talking spit from Wild Now.
Yeah, Stephanie Talbot Asia didn't even finish the joke, and she was already laughing. So that's tough.
Yeah, I was like, do you know this joke? Why are you laughing already? And like, I'm actually kind of sad that Jewell couldn't hold it together through the joke. That was a bad joke. It was bad.
CJ, let's talk about what's going on around. Did you have anything else stock down?
Stock down. The only stock down I have is more holistically right now. I don't know how I feel on our roster with us not using the developmental spots. I think that we really should be working on developing future role players, because we're going to have an expensive team and we're going to need the next wave of people that they can plug in.
Agreed. I was really surprised Jordan Obi has not been signed to a developmental spot.
Yes.
I felt like by drafting Jordan Obi, the Aces were prepared for her to take some time. So her not being on a developmental spot is a little bit surprising.
And you leave those developmental spots open, which is fine because you can sign anybody with up to 3 years experience. So if you want to cut Jordan Obi and look at who got released come cut down day, there's a lot of people who got released. We had a couple of forward players who got released, and Aaliyah Nye and Kate Martin.
That's what I wanted to talk about in our look around the league real quick. Aaliyah Nye and Kate Martin both were waived by their teams. Aaliyah Nye by the Tempo and Kate Martin by the Valkyrie. Both of them have found new homes, which is great. Aaliyah was claimed on waivers by the Dream, so she has a roster spot on the Dream. And Kate Martin today signed a developmental spot with the Sparks. I want to talk about Aaliyah Nye real fast. I do not think it's fair, and this is something that they needed to negotiate in the CBA, but it wasn't negotiated, but it is what it is. If you were taken from a team in the development in an expansion draft and you were cut, first off, you should have a guaranteed spot for everyone they take in the expansion draft. That would change how they looked at expansion drafts.
Okay.
Because if you're taking this person, they're guaranteed for a year. They're going to be on that squad. So then they may not take all the players. They may take less players. Who knows, right?
Okay.
Secondly, if you don't do that, I don't find it fair that the Aces lost Aaliyah Nye to an expansion draft. And then fast forward a month later, and she's on the Dream.
Yes.
That doesn't make sense to me. To me, it should go if you are taking in an expansion spot. If the team's going to waive you, first on the waivers should be the team that they came from.
But we don't know if the Aces tried to claim her or not because we don't know what the waiver order is.
True, but I assume that the Aces, having won, have a lower waiver priority.
Correct. And I say that coming from we don't know with Aaliyah Nye because she was actually claimed by the Dream and she went straight to their main roster. So there's a chance that the Aces didn't even get a chance at her. The fact that Kate Martin went to the developmental roster for the Sparks means she cleared waivers, which means nobody put a main roster claim on her. And then the Sparks came and signed her as a developmental player.
Correct. And which is why, speaking of Leah, so I just looked it up. WNBA waiver priority is generally determined by the reverse order of the previous season's regular season standings.
So the Aces would have been second to last.
Correct. So, and now mind you, the Dream were a playoff team.
They were, they were 4 seed, I believe, or 3 seed.
And so they have a lower waiver priority. They have a higher waiver priority than the Aces. And it's not like fantasy football where it like rolls. So like now all of a sudden the Dream are in the back of the line or something like that.
Yeah.
They stay in their spot. With that being the case, I don't think it's fair that like Aaliyah doesn't get a chance to get claimed by the Aces if they're going to try to claim her. Because it just didn't get to them.
Yeah, but like, although I agree with you because I do think that it sucks that she got cut, especially because like you get picked by Toronto, you uproot your life, move to literally a foreign country, and then a month later they're like, "Oh, just kidding, see ya."
Yeah, you just don't fit what we're looking for, which is fine. Yeah. That part's understandable to me. But like I said, the guarantee part, I uprooted my life because you selected me in a random draft between you and another team.
Yeah.
I had
this wasn't like a training camp invite where I just
right.
had a hotel room or an Airbnb for a month.
Correct. Like I didn't come in knowing that this is a possibility. I came in expecting because you guys selected me. You plucked me from a team in Las Vegas. I was chilling.
Yeah.
I was chilling by the end pool. Had a contract that they, as far as I knew, I was coming back. And based on how the Aces did their training camp, she probably is coming back.
I mean, worst case scenario, she gets waived, and then she might end up on the developmental roster at that point.
No, then she gets picked up by the Dream.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, if she doesn't get picked up, maybe we don't get a Stephanie Talbot.
Correct. Right.
Maybe we don't get a Brianna Turner.
They don't sign Stephanie Talbot, right? Or they maybe don't go for Kennedy Carter. They don't bring Kennedy Carter in.
Yeah.
But instead, she gets waived by this team that took her in an expansion draft, doesn't get an opportunity to go back to the team that she was already on. And I think that should be the case for everyone. Obviously, we talk about things from an Aces point of view, but for everybody, if you get selected in an expansion draft and you get waived, first off, that's kind of crazy to me. They picked you for a reason, you would think.
Yeah.
This one's a little bit different because free agency came so quickly after. So there's players like I don't think that they had Brittany Sykes as a possibility in their mind, possibly.
Probably not.
So she might have became redundant for kind of what they already had. Whereas like when the Valkyrie did it, the expansion draft was in December and the free agency opened in February or so.
Yeah, that's the other thing is this year's calendar created a lot of just weird stuff where we went expansion draft and then 3 days later, or 10 days later, WNBA draft, and then a couple days later, free agency, and then a week later, training camp.
Right.
Like
it's condensed.
Yeah.
And you really saw it. in terms of Kate Martin was the last cut for the Valkyrie. I know Becky said today that she knows that really hurt Natalie, but Kate's
Natalie
special.
said it was her. Natalie said it was their last cut, and it was the hardest because it felt like she was cutting part of the family.
Yeah, I mean, Kate Martin was in all of their marketing material.
Yeah.
But they had to do it in order to make it happen. And with Ileana Repair, being out on maternity, I think they were looking for bigs, so they had to cut Kate.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kate Martin ends up making it through waivers, and she gets signed today by the Sparks of the developmental squad. She's reunited with Kelsey Plum.
Yep.
So that's somewhere she's going to be able to really develop and see what's going on with her. I thought the Aces were going to maybe sign her to their developmental squad. I thought that was a possibility. But I thought Aaliyah Nye was the stronger. I have a lot more feelings about Aaliyah Nye than Kate Martin.
So this might just be a hot take by me, but I think Kate Martin being cut is actually a result of the explosion of money in the game, because we are drawing more talent from more places, because international talent is more likely to come here. So you were having players like Kate Martin, like Aaliyah Nye, who were second round picks, who would have held on to end of roster spots, who would have been occasional rotation pieces. Because like Kate Martin was playing 12 to 15 minutes per game the last 2 years, and now she's on a developmental spot. Like, that's kind of crazy, because 12 to 15 minutes a game is a rotational player in the WNBA. Like, let's not get it twisted. And now she can't even get minutes. That means that we've had a large infusion of talent very quickly.
Giovanna Nojic.
Yes, exactly. And I think what we're seeing is there's a lot of talent coming out of the woodwork because we are putting a lot more money in the game, and the WNBA is starting to become the preeminent women's basketball league in the world.
Yeah. Would it have been like almost a second-rate type deal? The best players played here, but the European players that were like role players said, I can make more money in Europe. Now they're like, hey, I can make more money being a role player here.
So you say the best players played here, but part of the reason the best players played here was because the best players were American and they wanted to play at home. So they played here, and then they went elsewhere to make money. Mm-hmm. Now they make money here, so they don't necessarily have to play elsewhere. And now you're going to start having international talent coming here to make money. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's good for the health of the league. And as we talked about in previous episodes, I think, once again, we can't we can't assume it's a lock in the next few Olympic cycles that the U.S. women are just going to win gold in the Olympics. You have a lot of talent internationally. They're going to have to work for it.
One other thing that I thought was really interesting in the wave cut space was that the Chicago Sky traded a pick to get Angel Reese, traded a pick to get Ariel Atkins, traded a pick to get Haley Van Lith. Mm-hmm. Before Haley Van Lith, they signed they had drafted a European player at the 10th spot in last year's draft. And then in the first pick in the second round, they took Maddie Westbeld out of Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. Come the start of the season, none of them people on the team. And that's all the moves they've done in the last 2 years.
It's wild to me that Haley Van Lith got cut, seeing as we thought she was going to be one of the faces of the Sky. It's also wild to me that Natasha Cloud sat out there so long in free agency.
Yeah.
And then got picked up by the Sky.
Even crazier to me, though, is that, not only did they trade those picks, CJ, they traded both Portland and Toronto picks to not take anyone from their team.
Right?
Just to cut Haley Van Lith and Maddie Westbeld.
Yeah.
I I don't know what's going on over there. It doesn't make sense to me, but it's not my responsibility. But for them to have take Sivka and her decide, do you know where Sivka ended up playing?
No.
Kentucky. She was drafted last year, did not come over, but she was drafted from a team in Slovakia or something. She's Slovenian.
Okay.
Okay, she got drafted by a team in the Chicago Sky, and then Kenny Brooks announced like the other day that they have got her to come to the University of Kentucky next year to start her collegiate career because she's like 19.
Oh, well, also, if she never plays for the team, she's never been a professional, which means she maintains her amateur status.
Correct. But it's the fact that they took Sivka with the 10th pick. They took Haley Van Lith with the 11th. They took Maddie Westbeld with the 16th. All of them gone.
Wild.
To take Haley Van Lith, they traded Minnesota that pick that became Olivia Miles.
Yes.
And then Haley Van Lith not on the team. The year before, to get Angel Reese, they traded a pick. They had a pick swap with Minnesota. This pick that ended up becoming theirs fully. They had traded them a pick swap and another pick to take Angel Reese. Not on the team. They traded Washington a first rounder to get Ariel Atkins last year. They traded Ariel Atkins for Rakia Jackson. Not on the team.
Not on the team.
what?
So what you're telling me is we are a year away from them trading Camila Cardoso?
Yeah, you know what? I thought they were. I think the Aces were calling. They said, well, shoot, man, if y'all just trading people away that y'all just drafted, them in Dallas were notorious for like everyone having played for them at some point or another. Because they get them and then they don't keep them.
It's ridiculous.
It's just an interesting situation to me. I just thought it was so funny. But then Chicago, they won yesterday. Because that team is a veteran team now. Skylar Diggins, Dejanay Carrington, Rakia Jackson, who are their bigs?
Well, Camila's one of them. I forget who the other one is.
Rakia
is one of them. It's her and Camila, but they have a third.
Yeah, it's just Tyler Marsh is doing what he can with what he's got. Gabriella Jaquez was out there balling. They had Azura Stevens. They got JT Sheldon. Traded another pick to get JT Sheldon, by the way. But
so she'll be gone soon.
She'll be gone soon. They were able to sign Maddie Westbelt to a developmental contract. They brought her back on a developmental contract.
I do wonder how much Tyler Marsh looked at. He was like, oh, look what they did to Spoon after 1 year. I had a worse record than her. I should probably get this going.
Stick around here.
Yeah.
It was just so funny. It was just so funny to me. I just had to bring it up because I just couldn't. I was dying.
Yeah. He said, out with the new, in with the old.
So let's take a look at what's going on around here in the next week or so. The Aces are on the road. They're starting a road trip. They're going to Connecticut for a couple games, going over to Atlanta to face. In Atlanta, they're going to be facing Alicia Gray, or the Aces sister team. Sea Angel, Alicia Gray, Ryan Howard.
Hang out with Aaliyah.
You know how it is. They're going to
Do you
Connecticut.
think they have a housewarming party for Aaliyah while they're there?
Maybe. I mean, having Aaliyah and I there, it's gonna be nice to be able to see a lot of people that they know. Friends of the Aces are gonna be up there.
Do the Aces bring her a toaster, or did somebody on the Dream already bring her one?
She's definitely
what's your housewarming?
She's in team.
So what's your housewarming present? Do you bring the toaster?
Nothing. You're in team housing. She don't got no housewarming. She has a furnished hotel or a furnished apartment.
Mm.
They play the Sun though for 2 games in Connecticut. the 15th and the 13th, I believe. 13th and the 15th.
They play Wednesday, Friday, Sunday this week, which would be the 13th, the 15th, and the 17th.
Yeah. Then do they have some time off? They get a week off? What's going on here?
I don't know what the schedule is. The following week, I know that the banner goes up the following Saturday.
Yep, May 23rd. Me and you will be back in the house. Well, at least I'll be back in the house. I assume you'll be there too.
I will be at the house. I will be watching the banner go up. I will be wearing my KP jersey just to let her know that we miss her and that we want her to lose that night.
I just hope that they don't boo De'Erica. There's no reason to.
Right.
There's no reason lawsuit. There's no lawsuit going on. I just hope they don't boo De'Erica.
Yep.
Other than that, CJ, you got anything else you want to go over?
I hope that we have less of yesterday from the Aces and more of today from the Aces.
I want to see today's Aces more often as well. That's the Aces that we know and we love. Other than that, all right, y'all, I think we're going to be getting up out of here. Appreciate you guys tapping into the Aces Era podcast, watching us here on YouTube or listening anywhere where you can find us on all streaming platforms. We'll be back next week after this week's slate of games. And you can find us everywhere at Aces Era Podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, tell your friends, tell other Aces fans, tell everybody to watch or listen to us. Once again, guys, I'm Kevin. That's CJ. And we'll catch y'all next time. For the Aces Era, we out.